On this particular day, the weather was absolutely perfect. It was sunny, warm, and breezy with clear blue skies. The temperature was just right, not too hot or too cold, and there was a refreshing breeze blowing through the town. The mansion, so large, luxurious, and spectacular, was residential property of K.Th, owner of Kim Apparel, who lived with his wife and children. The life he spent was not a cakewalk. After his parents' death in his teenage, he did and proved the world that he took his dad's business to top position all by himself. Not to mention he had his wife, who was his girlfriend at that time, stood beside him like a guardian angel. His wife Kim Wayan, daughter of underworld mafia gangster Kim Namjoon, was a renowned architectural designer. They both have been married since more than a decade and have 3 kids together. Jimin aka Jim, the eldest 17-year-old, Rosie, the twin 17 of Jim but 2 minutes younger, and lastly the pampered baby Jungkook aka Cookie, who was just 16. K.Th and Kim Wayan have together faced many obstacles in life, but the fact that there was no way of soreness in their relationship. They both agreed that their bond wasn't made by God types. Instead, they both have worked to nurture the relationship slowly and gradually. Memories are built on trust, mutual respect, and love. This was the motto given by Kim Wayan. She was the string that kept them attached together. Wayan, come fast. Where is my tie, Wayan? Wayan came running from the kitchen. Why are you shouting in the early morning, huh? Here is your tie. Look with open eyes, then you will find everything. Oh, fool. You're always throwing embers of anger on me. Sometimes shower flowers of love too. Started in early morning itself. And you like it, don't you? He sighed, hugged you, and nuzzled his face in your neck while you continued folding clothes. Stop it. Kids might come looking for me, so stay away. Oh God, why do I have kids? I can't even romance with my wife because of them. Babe, let's do one thing. Let's send them to your mom dad's place. Oh, such a brilliant idea. And then we'll be on bed whole day. He licked his lips looking at you like you are his meal. What say, wifey? Absolutely no. You have no shame or what? Dirty man. Really? Dirty, huh? But madam, please tell me last night who was so excited to give me a blowjob. You slapped your hand on his lips. Go bathe again and make sure to wash your dirty mouth. He burst with laughter and fell back on bed. It's been so many years since we got married, but you still haven't stopped teasing me. What should I do, wifey? I feel bored without teasing you. Of course, this is the only work left for you. You won't go to work today, right? If you order to not go, then I won't go, darling. And okay. Now I surrender. Please stop. He pulled your hand and you fall on top of him, who was already laying on the bed. Surrender now. Should I? Whispered seductively while tracing your index finger on his Adam's apple. Yes, you should. He whispered the same way and pecked your earlobe, making you shudder in his embrace. Okay, stop this right now, because if I let you do it, then you won't leave me alone any sooner. You got up and erected your clothes while he groaned in annoyance. Oh God, Wayan, you're such a spoiled sport. Don't be grumpy. We'll meet in evening. I won't die today itself, understand? Doorbell rang. Who is there early in the morning? Let me see. She went out of the room and Theong smiled at her disappearing figure. He is so very excited for their marriage anniversary, which is tomorrow. He has so many surprises for her which he planned with his kids. May this day pass quickly. Loud scream. He got startled hearing Wayan's loud scream and immediately ran out without waiting for a second. But his whole world crashed in front of his eyes when he saw Wine was laying unconscious at the end of staircase with the stairs covered with her blood. Breath uneven, brain numb, red eyes, pale face, grown beard, uncombed hair, body paralyzed, bones visible and unable to move. This was the condition of the biggest businessman of Korea. People ran into the room hearing him scream and immediately turned on the lights to check on him. Appa, what happened? Are you alright? The girl asked, but he did not respond, just looked around the room anxiously. It's okay, Theong. That was just a nightmare. Calm down, son. Calm down. But yet again, someone came running in the room and asked, What happened, Big Mama? The maid said. Appa screamed loudly. Nothing, Jimin. Just once again the nightmares. He walked near the couch where his dad was laying and caressed his head. He looked at his side and saw his sister sobbing. He immediately hugged her and she cried on his chest. Let's talk outside, Dad is sleeping here. They all nodded and turned to leave, but Jimin again turned around when he felt a tug on his shirt. Yes, Appa, what happened? Do you want anything? Brian, he whispered slowly with hopeful eyes, which yet again broke everyone's heart. Yes, Appa. She's coming. She's on the way. Okay, you sleep properly, otherwise Uma will be angry from you, right? He gave her two tiny nods and closed his eyes. Jimin, Rosie and Jessie turned to move out and they saw Cookie staring at Theong with blank and empty eyes. Jimin wrapped his arm around Cookie's shoulder and brought him out in the living room. Big Umma, is dinner ready? Yes. Come all of you. You must be hungry. I'm not. Me too. I'll just go back. Hey, wait. No. You must eat first before going to bed. He dragged them to the dining table and Jessie served the food. Eat now. They nodded and started to dig in their food. Jessie sat with them and watched them eat, but to her absolute disappointment, they kept on playing with food and no one ate actually. She had gone and took their thirst, hunger, peace, happiness and laughter with her. Why, God? Why you played with these innocent people's heart? Just why? Jessie thought in her mind. What happened, kiddos? Jim, Rosie, eat your food? Yeah. Jessie looked at Cookie, who was blankly staring at the plate, and sat there without doing anything. Cookie, give it to me. I will feed you. He did not say anything and Jessie started to feed him. They ate with no words exchanged because none of them have any words or feelings left within. The only thing left now was pain, an uncountable amount of pain. Jessie fed them after so much convincings and by diverting their mind with some random talks. After that, they all went to their bedroom. Jimin sat on the edge of bed and took out something from the nightstand drawer. He caressed it with so much care and then tenderly kissed it, keeping his lips there for a minute until he hiccuped while sobbing. Umma, what should I do? I can't handle anymore. Life is lifeless without you, Umma. He was crying hard and his already swollen eyes turned red now. But he instantly stopped whimpering when he felt a hand on his shoulder. He quickly wiped his tears and looked up to see his twin, his birth buddy, his sister Rosie. Didn't you sleep yet? His voice cracked at first, but he cleared his throat and asked without any eye contact. Rosie sat beside him and took their mother's photo frame from his hand. Oppa, you won't be able to hide your sorrow from me, she said, and they both wept, hugging each other. I'm feeling so lonely, Oppa. So lonely and so scared. If Uma was with us, then she would handle everything. She cried on his chest and he caressed her head and back softly. Rosie, my baby, you're a strong girl, right? Please, bub, stop crying now. His own tears were flowing silently. How could he make her stop crying? He took the photo frame and kept it back in the drawer because he knew none of them would possibly stop crying if they kept looking at their dead mother's photo frame. Jimin wiped his as well as his sister's tears. They were now dry and pale just as their mom left them 6 months ago. Rosie wiped her nose and spoke. Uppa? When will Appa get back like before? I can't see him like that, Appa. I know, Rosie. I feel the same. We have definitely lost Uma, but trust me, I will not let anything happen to Appa. There is one more problem, Appa. Tell me, what should we do about Cookie? His teachers are complaining about his inattentive behavior. I am also worried about him. I don't know what is going on in his mind. You're right. He's always lost somewhere and doesn't listen if you talk to him. He just blankly stares at everything. He neither studies, nor eats, nor listens, nor talks. He has become a complete lost child. Both of us at least share our sorrows, but he keeps all the emotions suppressed inside. I fear that his mental health may deteriorate due to this affair. Now I know why Uma used to say she need to give a bit more attention to him. It's because of his reserved nature. He only used to share everything with Uma, and now when she's gone, his world has turned upside down for real. Uppa, even we are not able to cope up from this trauma. I wonder what would be his state. Today you left the office from college, so his homeroom teacher called me in her cabin. And you know what she told me? Guess what, Uppa, you won't believe it. She told me to consult a psychiatrist for him. She said that he is in depression and situations like this can even worsen to a great extent. Jimin sighed and caressed his forehead. He was under so much pressure altogether. First, his dad's health, Cookie's mental state, his own studies, office work, and the overall house and business responsibilities were now on his fragile shoulders. Although his uncles were helping him with everything, Jin, Yoongi, and J-Hope were always with him in the office matters, slowly helping him to take over and understand each and every department and their working. At home, he had his grandma, his big Oma. She was his greatest support system. If she wasn't there, maybe he would break down long ago. He is grateful to all the people around him for everything. But at the end, they all can't fill the void of his mother. So, nights are sometimes sleepless, sometimes restless, and sometimes full of tears as he longed for his mom who has babied him and cradled him with her love and pampering, even if he was grown up from a baby to a teen. Baby, don't take tension. I'll look for a psychiatrist for. He stopped talking and Rosie found him looking at certain direction. She turned around and found their Dong-Sing looking at them from the doorstep with his big doe eyes. Come inside, Cookie. Why standing at the doorstep? Come. He slowly came inside and stood in front of them who were sitting on the bed. They made him sit in between them. What happened, Bunny? She caressed his hairs and asked him, but he did not respond. He kept on looking down. Jimin and Rosie looked at each other and again at him. We know you want to tell something, Bunny. See, your Hyung is there, your Nuna is there. You can ask and tell us anything, right? Cookie fiddled with his fingers and slowly nodded. Jimin and Rosie sighed in relief that he was at least listening to them. Very good. Now tell us. Hyung, stress on you? He said few words, but it emotionally touched Jimin's heart. Maybe Cookie heard them being worried about him, and he did not want to stress his brother who was solely handling everything. Jimin and Rosie immediately hugged him as their eyes brimmed with tears, but he sat there quietly being the strongest among them all, not letting anyone see his tears, and that's why he hid all the emotions inside him. Cookie, Rosie, both of you, if you face any kind of problem, then come to me. Hyung or Pa will always be there for you, understand? They nodded and he again spoke. Let's sleep now, it's already so late. Tomorrow school is there, we have to wake up early. Hyung? Yes, what happened? I'm scared to sleep alone. Well, is this the thing? Why didn't you tell me earlier? Come on, let's go. Jimin doesn't sleep in his own room, he sleeps in his parents' room to look after his father. Jimin and Cookie entered in the room and slowly closed the door, but by then Taeyong flinched open his eyes. Why? Jimin immediately ran to him who was on the couch. Yeah, Appa? Uma is coming. She's on the way. Calm down. He caressed his father's hair for a few minutes and Taeyong again went to sleep. Jimin and Cookie slept in 2 sheets and drifted to sleep as well. Do you wonder why Taeyong is on the couch? Cause he can't sleep on that bed alone where you aren't there with him. That bed is meant for you too, so if he has to use the bed for alone himself, then he better sleep on floor. And the other reason is the huge wedding picture of him and his wife was hanging on the wall just above the couch, so he chose that couch to stay as much close as he can to his wife. 6 months ago. Why Uma? A loud explosion deafened the ears collecting crowd around the place. Golden flames were touching the sky. The building had a blast. The building burnt with large crawling flames. Taeyong, Jin and Dad were thrown away due to the impact. They again stood up and ran towards the burning building trying to enter inside, but few men from the crowd held them away. Jimin, Rosie and Cookie stood there with no emotion. Their body went numb and didn't work up in that situation. It all happened in a blink of an eye and they could not believe the scenario in front of their eyes. Just now they came out to ask help for their mom. Just now they talked to her. Just now they assured her to keep her alive. Please let me go. My daughter is inside. I beg you. Brian, he screamed. Let me go inside. My wife needs me. The building burned into ashes right in front of his eyes. He stopped fighting with people to set him free. His throat hurted like hell after shouting and pleading so much, and now the people only held his lifeless body. His tear-stained cheeks and sorrow-filled eyes looked at one direction, with being deprived of any sensation. He felt nothing but emptiness, as if someone put hand in his mouth and took out his heart. He felt like vomiting due to anxiety. The people left, all 3 of them, and Taeyong had no control on his body. His glittering eyes only looked at the building, which turned into ruins. His vision got blurred out and darkness took over both his eyes and life. He fainted, not being able to bear the shock. Taeyong! She screamed in horror when she saw Taeyong falling down. Everyone broke out of the maze. Jisoo, Mom, K.Th, Jin and Dad all immediately ran towards Taeyong. Appa! Appa, am I still inside? Wake up! Appa! They shook him hardly, but no response. They all were crying helplessly, not being able to interpret anything. Son, what happened? Wake up! She took his head on her lap and patted his cheek. She was not able to save her daughter, but can't lose him too. Jin, you call the fire brigade. I'm calling ambulance. Jin nodded, and with shivering hands and stuck breath, he called fire brigade. Appa, Appa, don't worry. Nothing will happen to Umma. Appa, fire brigade is coming. There the kids cried frantically, witnessing such a horrible thing happening to both their parents just in front of their eyes. Namjoon kept on looking at the building and then Taeyong. No one can know or understand what goes on a parent to witness their own child's end before their own end. It's the greatest punishment that can be given to a parent. All the crimes, misdeeds, and killing that he did in his whole life flashed in front of Namjoon's eyes. This was the greatest of all punishments for his deeds. He was blaming himself that his kids has to suffer because of him. In the meantime, ambulance and fire brigade arrived. The male nurses laid Taeyong on the stroller and took him inside the ambulance. Mom, me, Jin and kids are going to hospital. You and Dad search for a Vian. Mom nodded with her teary eyes, but before that, Jimin spoke. I will stay here only. Jiseo nodded and held Rosie and Cookie's hand either side and took them with her to the hospital. 5 hours later, Mom, Dad, Jimin entered the hospital lifelessly with dead and tired soul. Jin, Jiseo and kids immediately rushed to them and asked with so much hope. Mom, what happened? You found one, right? How is she? Tell us please, Mom. Speak something. Dad, you tell us. She's gone. She's gone. Everything's over. My daughter is gone. Jiseo fell silent and more tears broke out in everyone's eyes. Rosie covered her face and cried hard. Cookie's red eyes and nose turned pale as the little hope in his heart was murdered. He fell on ground with a thud and everyone became anxious with his condition. His senses were gone and was just sitting with the support of wall without moving his body. He went numb. No tears, no emotion. He was totally expressionless. Rosie rushed to him and hugged him tightly while he snuggled in her neck and suddenly burst out crying hard. Jimin turned around away from everyone and palmed his mouth to suppress his loud whimpers. Namjoon pulled him in hug and Chim cried on his shoulder. Jessie catched his back and hugged him from behind. Enough now. Stop crying, baby. We are with you. It's over. It's all over. Everything is over. Oma, where? Oh, where are you? Appa need you. Please come back, please. All flinched with his sudden outburst, but his last words caught Mom, Dad and Jimin's attention. Appa need you. Jimin stopped crying abruptly and asked, What happened to Appa? Where is he? But none of them replied. Instead, they lowered their head. Jimin took a step towards Rosie and Cookie and asked again, What happened to Appa? Still no reply. I said, Tell me, where is Appa? This time he vigorously shook Cookie and all of them panicked. Rosie tried to shield him and Jin hastily pulled Jimin away from Cookie. Shh! Calm yourself, Jimin. Look at his condition. What were you doing? Jimin looked at Cookie and instantly apologized. I'm sorry, but please tell me, where is Appa? What happened? Why he fainted all of a sudden? Jin felt silent for a second and sighed loudly. Jessie realized the seriousness in that sigh and asked anxiously, Jin, say something. Mom, doctor said that. He said that. Taeyong. Yes, what? He said that Taeyong is suffering from partial amnesia. The memory of that incident has been removed from his mind. The part of his brain that had that memory of that incident has been removed. He's in a state of denial right now. Jessie covered her mouth in shock and Namjoon was stunned as well. Can we see him now? Jin nodded and all of them entered inside the room. He was awake and laying on the bed. Mom, you came. See what these people are doing to me. They have kept me here and not letting me go home. Vine might be waiting for me. I wanted to surprise her by arriving early from business trip, but I don't know how I end up here. Oh, Jim, Rosie, Cookie, my babies, you also came? Then Vine might be there too. Where is she? Please call her. I really want to see her. Why you all are quiet? Why you all are looking at me sad like that? I'm fine, nothing happened. Just call Vine. Call her inside. I know she might be angry from me because I teased her on call. What happened? Okay, I myself will call her. Vine, come inside please. I'm sorry, don't be angry. Please come inside. She's dead. Taeyong stopped talking and got angry. Hyung, he's telling truth. Vine is dead. Mom, you too? How can you say like that? Taeyong, your Vine is no more. Come to your senses. Come to your senses, Taeyong. She died in front of your eyes. You need senses, Young, not me. Let's go from here. Uma is dead, Appa. How? How can she die? I would not be alive if she was dead. My breath would stop by itself if something happened to my wife. Understand you all? Taeyong, your wife and my daughter is dead. Son, she is no more. No, you all are lying. My wife can't leave me. Dad, see what all of them are saying. That how can they talk like that about her dad? Please tell them that. Namjoon slowly approached Taeyong, who was now sitting on bed. Namjoon kept hand on his shoulder and murmured, "They are Ryan. She died in bomb blast." Taeyong stopped breathing, his breath stuck and stopped with the word dead. Slowly his eyes closed and he fell back on bed. Taeyong, Appa! The machine beeped loudly and Jen ran out to call the doctor. All that happened so suddenly that they did not understood what to do in that situation. Jin came back running with doctor and he immediately started to check the nurse, bring the injection fast. The doctor injected Taeyong and nurses pushed all the family members out. They watched Taeyong from glass frame with thunderbolts strike upon them. They watched the doctor using some machines on Tae. After an hour, doctor called them inside angrily and spoke. Did I not want you to be calm with him? Do you all even realize the seriousness of his condition? How carelessly you worsened his situation. Doctor, what happened? I warned you to not talk something which would trigger his emotions. Now, as the result of your carelessness, his lower body has no sensation. In other words, one of his brain nerve connected to the lower body is blocked. His body below the waist is paralyzed. Mom disbalanced with yet another heart-shattering news, but Jin held her on time. From now on, please be careful and don't mention anything which would bring him to the verge of panic mode again. Otherwise, his mental health will be out of control. Mark my words. Doctor left after seeing that. Mom rested her head on Dad's shoulder while weeping uncontrollably. Honey, why has all this happened to us? Why? Why? Dad looked at Taeyong with wet, numb eyes. One after other, things kept getting worse and worse. They came to Seoul to live days with happiness with their daughter, but their whole world flipped in few hours, the worst hours. Jessie stood straight and looked at the kids just to have a heartbreak more. All three of them were wailing like starving infants for their mom-dad. They were looking so vulnerable that anyone would feel pity after seeing them. The door suddenly burst open and three people rushed inside. They stopped when they saw Taeyong lying on the hospital bed lifelessly. It was none other than J-Hope, Sooyoung and Hee-sung. They came running after watching the news on TV. How all this happened? Samjoon. She hugged him tightly and cried on his chest. My poor child, cry it out. Sooyoung hugged Jimin and Cookie, who cried on her shoulder. Uma is dead. Appa is paralyzed. We have no one now. We are orphan now. They all gasped loudly, hearing his words. No, no, son, there's nothing like that. Jim, my baby, we all are with you. You're not alone. Jimina, look at me. Yeah, you said these words now, but never say that again, okay? We all are with you. You are not alone. Jimin nodded and cried, hugging his emo. J-Hope looked at Namjoon and Jessie and spoke. Annyeonghaseyo. I'm J-Hope, Taeyong's cousin. She's my wife and this is my son. Mom and Dad nodded. Jin-young, what is all this? First Ryan and then here Taeyong. What actually happened, Hyung? We saw on TV and came running here. Jin told everything, including Taeyong's condition, and all of their heart ached to hear it once again. And I swear to God, the one who did this to my sister and brother-in-law, I will kill him. After all this mess, Taeyong and kids were left alone. There was no one to look after them, so watching their condition, Mom decided to stay with them.